Goodbye.
Today, expect to see some heavy downpours all over the country. Heinz Beans sponsors ITV National Weather.
A very good evening to you. A cold start to March, that's for sure. Temperatures way lower than we saw throughout February, with wet, wintry, windy conditions in the next few hours, together with frost and ice as temperatures fall. An action-packed night ahead, with windy, wet conditions, wintry in places, with sleet and snow across the highest ground of northern England, northern and eastern Scotland. Some wintry weather mixed into the rain further south, particularly across the highest ground. Hail and thunder thrown in for good measure. Quite a noisy night with the gusty, blustery winds and temperatures falling away. It will be cold with frost, ice in the most prone zones, together with freezing fog patches in some locations as we head into Saturday morning. And an action-packed start to Saturday for many of us. Blustery and wet. The sleet and snow continues across parts of Scotland, particularly across the higher ground of the north and the east. We've got sleet and snow mixed into the rain across the highest ground of the Pennines and the Peak District. Elsewhere, downpours with hail and thunder and feeling quite chilly with a cold wind.
Heinz Beans sponsors ITV National Weather.
There's no way you're going to get into CTHK.
No.
But you will. Go on then. Dad, listen, you can't leave the house. They're watching you.
Trigger Point continues Sunday at 9 on ITV1 and stream the full series on ITVX.
Hello, good evening. A breakthrough treatment in Cambridge could help prevent blindness in babies and children. Currently, 1 in around 3,000 babies are born with cataracts, which could leave them without sight because signs can be missed during routine testing at birth. But now a consultant based at Addenbrooke's Hospital has come up with a new device which can check far more accurately. Matthew Hudson has more.
Cataracts in babies are rare, only 1 in around 3,000 births. But if not treated in the first few months, it can mean a lifetime without sight. So mums Amaka and Charlotte were happy to let staff at Addenbrooke's use a risk-free new camera to check for telltale signs in their new babies, Caitlin and Elizabeth. Both are fine.
I think it's good because it will help other mums. You know, it will ease the stress when they know they have it on time, and then they can get treated to stop the blindness thing from childbirth. So I think it makes a lot of sense.
I think it's very important to know that there's new ways to find out things and to be reassured that there's going to be nothing wrong.
Cataracts in adults are easy to treat successfully, but our brains can only learn how to see in the first 3 months. If cataracts are removed too late, we never learn to see. Babies are automatically tested for cataracts using a bright white torch called an ophthalmoscope. But it causes the pupil to shrink, making it hard to evaluate accurately. That's particularly true of black and Asian infants, because darker pigmentation behind the eyes makes it even harder to spot cataracts. Around a third of genuine cases are currently missed at birth, while false positives subject other parents to needless distress. The NeoCam uses infrared light, which doesn't affect the pupil or agitate the baby, and records the images so they can be studied. Midwife Robin Murray has been involved in the trial.
If you're unsure whether you've seen it or not and you need a second opinion, it's very difficult to get that. But with the NeoCam, it creates a still digital image which you can then email to a colleague or check with someone else without having to go back and try and get the baby to open its eyes, which can be quite challenging.
NeoCam was devised by consultant Louise Allen. So far, 3,000 families have taken part in the trial, but 140,000 are needed by August 2025. More hospitals are coming on board to provide babies for this test, including the Norfolk and Norwich.
You can just go onto the study website and enrol and consent, and then you're set so that when your baby's born that you will naturally have the screening if you're giving birth in one of the centres that's got the camera. But what's tending to happen is actually we come and talk to the parents after they've had their babies and ask them to consent at that point, and then screen them sort of within half an hour to an hour of them completing the consent process.
The NeoCam test is completely risk-free, and if it's adopted nationwide after the trial, it has the potential to reduce the number of children who grow up never being able to see. Matthew Hudson, ITV News in Cambridge.
A man's been charged with attempted murder after a pensioner in his 80s was stabbed in the neck in Norfolk. The incident happened yesterday morning in Hockwold near Thetford. The victim has life-threatening injuries and is in a critical condition at Addenbrooke's Hospital. Ashley Francis, who's 26 and from Kings Lynn, will appear before magistrates tomorrow. The Shadow Chancellor has spent the day in Lowestoft and Great Yarmouth, where she backed the wind farm plans, which will see cables and pylons slicing through the East Anglian countryside. Rachel Reeves met staff and apprentices at Scottish Power Renewables in Lowestoft. She insisted Labour's Green Prosperity Plan would create 38,000 new jobs here in the East. And she said controversial plans to connect wind farms with pylons and underground cables must go ahead, but locals should be compensated.
Labour are also dedicated to ensure that local people who host nationally significant infrastructure are compensated for doing that, whether that's in terms of lower bills or something else. But we have got to take advantage of domestic renewables to lower people's bills and to ensure that we are secure as a nation when it comes to our energy supplies.
A man from Ipswich who was fined £500 for leaving bin bags out for collection outside his home says he will fight the council in court. Ben Riley says he was unaware he couldn't put bags out if they weren't in the black bin. Ipswich Borough Council insists they are an environmental and health hazard. Tanya Mercer has this.
So this is where I put my wheelie bin, and so here was the wheelie bin, 4 black bags. As you can see, there's a corner. It's not obstructing anyone. I've not dumped a fridge, a TV set. I didn't think it was going to cause any problem.
But for Ben, this has caused a very big problem in the shape of a £500 fine. He'd just moved to the town from Essex and says he'd put bin bags out back there without issue, so he didn't realise he was doing anything wrong.
I didn't know council. I thought they did work the same. Back home we have a blue bottle box, that glass go in. Here you have to go to a bottle bank. We have a caddy that you put in the kitchen, that you put eggshells and stuff in. You don't have that here. It's never been a problem. And then the first time I've done it here, after 3 weeks of moving in, I've been fined with £500, which I think is just ridiculous.
Ben says it's impossible for him to find hundreds of pounds in a short period of time, and he's now had to undergo an official interview with the council and faces criminal proceedings, something he says is very stressful. But the council says their rules are clear. They say the bags were left for 6 days before bin collection, and they can be ripped apart by seagulls, rats and urban foxes.
It's a public health hazard. Environmentally, it doesn't look good. If you've got rubbish everywhere, it makes the town less attractive to visit. In terms of the £500 fine, we offer a discount. If it's paid a short space of time, then it'll be reduced by half to £250.
Around 30,000 tonnes of waste is collected from black bins in Ipswich every year. That's around half a tonne of waste for every home in the town. Ipswich Borough Council's rules say that you mustn't overfill your bin. You shouldn't leave the bin lid wedged open, and you can't leave black bin bags beside the bin.
Mr Riley now faces a choice, paying the reduced fine or going to court. If he loses, he will also incur court costs, but it's something he says he's willing to risk.
I'm going to take it to court. I do think the matter has gone out of proportion. And it's been quite extreme in actually how I've been treated. It should have been a knock on the door, Ben, you've done this, don't do it again kind of thing.
Ben sees this as a matter of principle. But the council says rules have to be followed for the benefit of all.
Tanya Mercer reporting. A young Colchester United football fan is attempting to walk 2 miles every day for charity while being treated for a brain tumour. After spending weeks in hospital, Lauren Baker returned to the stadium in January and welcomed her favourite players before kick-off. She's still undergoing treatment but is determined to raise awareness and money for the brain tumour charity.
In adults and young children under 40, that is the main big killer. Cancer killer. So to raise this awareness and to get as much research as the charity does would just be incredible.
Finally, any parent will tell you it can be a struggle to get them off their phones, the children, and into the fresh air, but a nationwide game is trying to get kids outdoors. It's called Beat the Streets and sees players given prizes for finding so-called beat boxes in their local towns. Now the giant game has come to Chelmsford and around 4,000 people have signed up so far. There's also a game in Ipswich and one planned for Harwich next month.
So this is so important to get people reconnected out and about in their community. Completely live, interactive scavenger hunt, free and inclusive to everybody. So these beat boxes are installed all over Chelmsford and South Woodham, and we're just encouraging people to get out, enjoying the lighter evenings and moving in whichever way.
Seems like a good idea. Right time for the weather for this weekend ahead. Is it light? Certainly in the evening, but I think it's wet and windy. Here's Ash.
Greater Anglia sponsors ITV Anglia Weather.
Hello there, and a very good evening to everyone at home. Well, it was the first day of meteorological spring today, and it's been a little bit chilly. This low pressure centre continues to drive some showers through much of Saturday. On Sunday, that's going to push northwards, right out by the northwest of Scotland. The isobars, and you can see them opening out. So the winds are going to drop out, and it's going to stop the showers developing as well. So as we head through the rest of tonight, we still have some showers to come, and the showery weather continuing for the next 24 hours or so. One or two of those on the heavy side, and it's also turning a little chilly as well. Temperatures dropping right back to around 2 degrees Celsius. Blustery nights to come as well. So through tomorrow morning, those showers becoming much more frequent, heavy at times as well. And then into the afternoon, they slowly start to ease off. But the likelihood is, if you are out and about tomorrow, you are going to get caught in a shower. Temperatures, though, should hold up at around 7 degrees Celsius. A little chilly for the time of year, particularly when you add on the strength of that breeze. Turning very cold then overnight from Saturday into Sunday. The showers ease off, the skies are clear, temperatures are going to take a little tumble. And for most of Sunday, aside from a little bit of showery rain in the far northeast, first thing, it should be dry and fine with some good spells of sunshine. Good night.
Greater Anglia sponsors ITV Anglia Weather.
OK, that is it for now. Thank you for your company this evening. We're back with bulletins over the weekend. From me and the late team, have a great night and a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.